Okay, hello, hello. Welcome in. I thought about taking my hat off, but at the same time, bald. Okay. So welcome to Healing Conversations. My brother Raymell will be here soon and very soon. If you're happening to catch this replay, I am Angelique. Welcome to my channel. This space is where we talk about all things healing, and we also go live on Raymell's page on Instagram. But I like to do it live here so we can capture and clip the content um, for other people to get the little tidbits, those little moments that it's just like, ooh, you really dropped a gem there. Um, and I have kind of been figuring out what's the most efficient way to do that is, but we'll be getting that together. But while I'm here, you feel me? I brought my book, Days of Darkness, and I am going to do a little reading until Brother Raymond gets here. So yeah, let's see. Um, I guess I'll just read this one real quick because it's a quick little page. Everything in life offers experience. This is chapter 30. And yeah, we'll just go ahead. Everything in life offers experience. From the most humble position. Oh, wait, hold on. I think this is a split. Nope, never mind. I'm tripping. Everything in life offers experience. From the most humble position to the most exalted one, there are lessons that life has for every one of us. Gifts ready to be unwrapped, patiently waiting for someone to peel back the paper. We tend to get blinded by the obligations of different roles or the stressors of positions, so much so that we can't see all the wonderful opportunities for growth and expansion. All the amazing knowledge and skills that we are being equipped with simply by living from moment to moment. Keep your eyes open. You never know what the universe will gift you next. And I also want to say this is a coloring page as well. It has coloring pages in here. But yeah, that is so very true. And I'm finding that with myself. I am in the midst of different obligations and learning how to perform in different roles and the different responsibilities, expectations. And it's just been really enriching. It's been really enriching and allowing me to open up my own capacity of navigating different situations and exercising leadership and responsibility. So that chapter is very on point. If you are interested in purchasing, you can check out the link in my social handles. It is the Linktree slash VZ spaces. V as in Victor, Z as in zebra, spaces as in space with an S. So yeah, I just wanted to do that little diddly do while I was in here. I not sure what Brother Raymell and I will be talking about, but as he comes in, we will be muting the mic and guarding the camera so that we can do our little debrief. Oh, I can do this. Last week, we had a beautiful conversation about community, and I'm really grateful for the life experience that I'm having these days. There was a time when I felt isolated. And even though I knew a lot of people, I didn't feel like I had deep, vulnerable relationships with people. And we have this tendency to, well, we can have a tendency to get to know lots of different people and feel like, oh, I'm being social, but on the inside, we're not having that satisfying connection. Have you ever found yourself in a space where you knew lots of people, considered yourself a social person, but you weren't receiving that satisfaction of intimacy? That was me. That was me before I started on this personal development journey. And I allowed myself to be open and vulnerable with anybody, really. I was a very guarded person, and now I am open. I'm willing to share my emotions. I'm willing to be vulnerable and really dive into some of the darkest moments of my life experience. And I was not always that way. I had trouble really letting people know that I was feeling pain, that I was feeling sad or depressed. And that led me into a belief that I had to navigate everything alone. Like I would be smiling and making jokes, but nobody knew that I was thinking about ending my life. Nobody knew that I was thinking, oh, I'm just here to make people smile, but nobody's here for me. Nobody knew that I was thinking, wow, I really don't feel like I belong here. And it wasn't until I started to attend the conferences with Lisa Nichols and recognized that that was something I had to develop within myself. I had to build my trust muscle. I had to speak my truth and trust and believe that I would be held with compassion and kindness. And now I am committed to holding those spaces for other people. And I realize how beneficial it has been for me. So I really do dedicate a lot of my time to holding that space. And that's also one of the reasons why I make this book, why I put it out, because I want it, because I believe and I know and I trust that it will be the beginning for a lot of people of having space held for you, seeing that you're not alone on your journey because there's somebody else who has gone through these things. And they have things that have supported them, tools and insights that have supported them. So, yeah, that is kind of where I'm at. I'm going to pause for the cause. I feel like Brother Raymell should be here soon and very soon. So, you will be seeing us in a few minutos. We'll see you soon.
hello, IG family. Happy Saturday.
Yes, it's always Saturday here.
Sending that good energy. IG, let your tribe know we are here in the building, having conversations. Let them know, let them know, let them know. Welcome. Hello,
Hello.
Doc. Docade, babe. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the hearts.
Yes.
Welcome.
And if you have a handle and you would like us to share your actual name, put it in the comments.
Yeah, definitely drop your name. So we love to
Mhm.
include you into the conversation. Hey Marcia, hey
Hey.
Sharon. Welcome, welcome to Healing Conversations. This is our
Yes.
safe space that my sister Angelique and I created. And we talk, hey
Hey,
Sandra,
Sandra.
we talk all things healing, expansion, and growth. And I firmly believe that as we heal individually, so me,
Hey, Zoe. Okay, y'all.
we truly change, we riffle it out and we start to help the collective healing. And it's
Mhm.
based on what we do for ourselves is how we help everyone else.
Yes, yes, and I am so glad y'all are popping in here
Yes, we got the
today.
tribe coming in. Come on.
Yes.
I think we're gonna have a juicy conversation today, but say hi
Yes.
to the
And
people.
y'all are feeling the vibrations. Y'all like, oh, this is
Yes.
gonna be. But for those of you who are from Raymell's channel, my name is Angelique, and I am so grateful for this space because it has supported me with my growth and expansion. I do spiritual coaching. I do artistry. I'm an author. I like saying it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Author.
Heart
Um,
down.
and I just really love having these moments where we can be vulnerable with each other, where we can speak our truth, where we can hold each other without judgment, without blaming or guilting, because that's how we grow. I have learned from myself that the transformations I have experienced have come mostly from being able to express myself in
Mm-hmm.
unconditional loving spaces. So that's what this is. That's what we're here for. We're grateful that you're here. And of course, if you have any comments or things you want to share, feel free to drop them in the comments or come up on the
Yeah, come on the
stage.
virtual
Be a
stage.
part
We
of the
like to see your
convo.
faces, hear your voices, and really hear your perceptions of our perspectives on.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
both the same on what it is that we're talking about. And
Mhm.
let's just jump in the pool. So you want to get it started?
Sure. Yeah. So, recently I had an aha moment. So, again, this is a free open space, but I'm doing my
Mm-hmm.
best to be mindful of who was involved because it's my story, not theirs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell another person's story. But I recently had this aha moment where I was having a conversation with someone who I grew up around, and they said something to me. I was telling them, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I got my book coming out. It's going to be on here. I'm back on Facebook again, and I'm doing my best to get on my social media stuff. And they were like, you're doing too much. You got too much going on. And as I was hearing that, it like went into my heart. And it was like, my heart was like, whoa, this is old paradigm. I'm trying to get back in here. And I just had to stop and be like, oh, I used to think this. This used to be just in my mind, like constantly. Like you're doing too much. You can't handle anything beyond the basic mediocre life. So don't try to do
Mm-hmm.
anything different. And it allowed me, that moment of awareness allowed me to realize, like, oh, this is why I didn't believe I could be a leader. This is why I didn't believe that I could be successful. This is why I didn't believe that I could handle doing multiple projects or doing something big because that's too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much for me. But then I was like, hold on. I didn't make that up myself. This person who I was talking to implanted that in me because they knew me from little baby. And
Mm-hmm.
I was hearing them say that about other people. I was hearing other people say that about them, probably. It was just in the atmosphere. And I was like, oh, since this is where I come from and I'm raised around, this must be my truth also. But my soul has been through some expansion and transformation, y'all.
Mhm.
And she was like, honey.
Mhm.
She's like, this is no longer your truth. You get to see now, you're getting to see this reflection of like, oh, this is where this came from. This is why I used to think this about myself. But I don't have to think that about myself anymore because I have experienced and witnessed and had the um, tangible experience of actually handling more than I thought I could and being okay. Doing so with grace and ease. That's learning different things and, stumbling along the way,
Yes,
right?
reflection of glory. Yes,
Amen.
Sandra.
Yes. Making some stumbles along the way, but still being able to contain it and growing my capacity to act in those ways that are too much. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share. Brother Raymell was like, I posted in my stories and my close friends. And he was like, we should talk about this. And I was like, okay, yes, yes.
And why I felt compelled to speak on this is because I had a similar experience probably like about a year ago. And I was on the phone with someone and we were just in conversation, similar thing. And they were just speaking all these limitations to why they couldn't do something. Oh, I can't do this because I'm afraid of this. I can't. And they were speaking all the can'ts. And as they were speaking that, I started to think, wait, I have that belief. I say that same thing sometimes. That's where that came from. And I had this light bulb go off for me like, this is where those seeds were planted within me. And I watered them because I believed it, because I seen that experience in my upbringing. I've seen that in my household. I've seen that, which is what I was in exchange of energy with. And a lot of times we're unaware that those are the reasons why, as adults, we have the limitations that we have. We have those beliefs and why we can't pursue something, why something is impossible, why we are not enough. And a lot of times we go to the tip of the iceberg and we're like, well, let me change this job or change this relationship, change this living space, and then I will be able to believe this about myself. But we have to get under the water, and under the water is when we're able to have those exchanges and not project out where we're still holding on to the anger of it, but we shifted to have an awareness that way. Now I see what I wasn't able to see. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So now you have that power that we're given is to choose. Do you still want to operate in that same program, or you choose to instill a new one? And in that process of instilling the new program, it's not easy because you have to be mindful that however many years you've been in this world, that's probably the same program that you've been operating by for all those years. So the awareness is now I know, but the real work is the implementation of what you are learning and growing into. And that's where this new identity forms. This new character that you create starts to develop. And that's where we get into the internal fight because what feels safe and familiar is that limitation at times, is that belief that I have to work hard to get things. Things are never easy to come to me. I have to be in the hustle and the bustle in order to make things happen.
Fight
And if I don't, then it won't happen. I don't deserve it. We have all these deep rooted instilled beliefs that we didn't develop ourselves. They were given to us. And I say not in the projection because it's not until you get into that place of internal healing and release that you can hold the space for compassion. So if I forgive myself, if I'm showing up and loving myself, if I'm holding space for compassion for myself, and I'm nurturing that younger self that was the one who was told those things, who experienced those things, and I'm giving them that courage and that strength to stand in the new belief of knowing that they're none of those things, then I can see the people that I grew up with in my life, and I can see why those were the things that they instilled because they didn't know what they didn't know.
Mhm.
And it's not to negate what we experience, it's just the awareness of knowing you only pass what you experience onto me. So then that's where I can hold space for love for you, for compassion for you, to want to understand you and not blame you for what you didn't do and what you should have did and why you didn't do it and now this. And then that's where we get lost, because as adults, if you're still blaming people from your childhood for why you are where you are and who you are, that's where you'll stay. Well, that was powerful. Ooh. Ooh, I
It's
had to
true.
let that
It's
come out
true.
and really sit with that, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are stuck there.
Mhm.
Well, this, they, them, but it doesn't give me my power.
Mhm.
It doesn't give me any power. It's just delegating that power, outsourcing it to others to think, well, if they, then I.
Mhm.
And that can never be. If you, then you can give them the gift of showing what healing and expansion looks like.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to land it there. Hey, Helen,
Mhm.
because I knew this conversation was going to be juicy. I knew it was going to be empowering, and I see we have some requests. So
Yeah.
let's and if anything you
Yeah.
want to share
Yeah,
while
and
I
I
add
just
on.
want to remind us all that we were children and we didn't have agency or authority over our upbringing or our environment. Hey, Queen.
Sandra.
I guess Sumi will be back. She might be listening in the background.
Hey,
Thinking that
can you guys hear me?
we can hear you.
I
We
see
can't
you
see
knew it
you.
this time. We don't see you, but we can.
Yeah. Oh, the moment I'm gonna get out and then I'll try to come back.
Yeah, send another request. Get out and come in.
Yes. But yeah,
Can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes.
you.
Let me just
Okay.
wrap up this point real fast. But yeah, we were all children and we didn't have the authority or agency over our environment. So, like Raymell said, yes, things happened, situations occurred, things were programmed into us, but we are adults now. If you're on this call, you're probably an adult, and we have the power to choose, to change, to transform. Okay, go ahead,
Sandra, I want to say hello.
Yes,
I
we can
miss
see
you.
you,
I love
Queen.
seeing your face, and I'm excited to hear the gems that you both are going to drop in this conversation, because I know this is going to bring the
I've
heat.
been kind of MIA for the last maybe. Can you guys see me?
We
Yes,
can see
yes.
you and hear you.
Perfect. Okay. I've been MIA for the last month and a half or so. So, but still listening to everyone and, just loving all the information. But I wanted to say, when we're kids and we take the information in, I wanted to let people know that it's not a bad thing when you're taking the information in. Your ego is just giving you a bird's eye view of life outside of what's happening. How to break it down for you. It just knows how to present it to you. And normally we would have parents that would help us if we ask questions to put it in a place for us. If we're doing that. And most of the time we're asking the questions, the parents, depending on where they came from in their growth and expansion, will give us an answer. Usually the answer is based off of what they perceive their life to be, whether it was in turmoil or obstruction or introjection, whether it was based in love or hate or malice or deceit. They're going to give you the best answer they can give you with what the information that they have. Not necessarily a right or a wrong, just a IS in quotes, a capital I and a capital S. It just is. When we get adults, like Angelique says, we get to change the scenario. But we're told or we're programmed to stay within the scenario because judging it is the best way we can live. So we live that way for a while until we have that, like Angelique says, that aha moment. Something that just stops you in your freaking tracks. And that's not the word I wanted to use. You know me, Raymell. I wanted to use something a little more powerful, right? But it stops you. It could be something like a car accident, or it could be a person dying, somebody you love a lot that died tragically and suddenly, and it just stops you in the tracks, and it points you in a direction of, where do I go next? What do I do now? But what Angelique said about having somebody utilize the point of reference is, you're doing too much. The first time that actually kind of, I don't know, triggered me. It's not about the person having the trigger. It's just about them taking the action and thrusting it at me, was being on these social avenues and having somebody tell me their perception of what they thought that God was giving me that was too much. You're doing too much. You're doing this and you're doing that, and I believe you're overextending yourself. Well, I heard that before when I was a kid, right? So all of a sudden it thrust me back to being that middle child in between older and younger siblings, and not being heard, but being told what I could do and what I couldn't do, based on other perceptions, not based on love, because I knew they loved me. I grew up in a family that loved me. I actually knew what love was, okay? But growing up based on perceptions of what other people thought I could and couldn't do, right? Based on being a child and not knowing that it was somebody else's perception of what they thought I could and couldn't do, their limitations of me, not a right or a wrong, not that they didn't love me or they didn't love me enough. But fast forward it now to my calling and having somebody who didn't know me but followed me and thought that they could have the courage to say, well, we just, I got this download from God, and you're doing too much. And, and this was when I was first starting. And my first thing was, well, wouldn't God tell me if I was doing too much? But see, I didn't do it that way because my ego was still protecting me. It's like, well, wait, hold up, wait a minute. I thought, I was supposed to be the perception of that, but it thrust me back into past. And past is where I was trying to escape from. Did you hear the word I said? I was trying to escape from it. You could use that word as, I'm trying to resist it now. Because I know it's not where I want to be, but if I'm resisting it, that which resists will persist, right? So it's kind of like, I didn't get that moment until I was on these internet stages on Instagram, having people tell me, you're just doing too much. Every time we see you, you're on a live. Every time we see you, we get this, the bell rings that tell me you're going live. And we just feel you're doing too much. Right? But they're the catalyst that takes me back to a story. And like Angelique says, I can't tell the other person's half of the story because it's my story too, but it's also their story. Their perception of how they're seeing it. I can't change that perception. It's like, out of 5 kids growing up in one situation and circumstance that happened, all 5 of us are going to see that situation and circumstance from different dimensional views. Right? And it was like, it blew it wide open for me. It was like, oh, how do I revisit this without having judgment on myself? How do I fix that? Well, I had to go feel it. I had to let it happen. And I had to go say, oh, I have to revisit that. I have to go ahead and feel the judgment of it. then I have to dive into the forgiveness of it. And it's not forgiving another person, it's forgiving me inside for allowing the story to keep going until I was pushed into this point. Because at any other point, I could have dealt with the story. It showed up. It did. It just got loud enough where it said, fuck, Sandra, aren't you going to listen to me? Right? And it took somebody that was, how do I say it? It took somebody that was a nobody to me. Do you understand what I mean by that? I didn't know them from, they weren't a best friend. They weren't family. They were just somebody that was following me that decided to make their opinion known. But number one, it hurt. Number two, it was truth. It was their truth. They were speaking their truth. But now it quieted me and it humbled me because it was, I got to deal with this. Right? Because the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to go into my Gemini mode and say, what the fuck? Just, either type it in the comments or boot them out or what do you call it? Delete, block them or something. And I had to actually have a moment where my higher self said, what good would that do? Is that going to change you? Not fix you, but change you. Because what is the constant is the gift of the divine is there's always going to be change. And I went, oh, okay. Let me feel it. Shit, that hurt. Let me deal with it. Okay, cry a few little tears because this is social media. They're gonna be, very blunt. And next, what are you gonna do with it, Sandra? Right? What am I gonna do with it? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing until I sit down in another moment with the divine, and the divine tells me to stop. Right? And then I'm going to invite this person, I'm not going to block him. I'm not going to, I'm just going to allow them to keep coming back.
And see my too much and witness this too much. I'm going to let you come back and witness this too much because it's a lot and I got a lot to give.
Right. It's like, okay, do I sit down and say what's too much? Do I feel it's too much? And it's like, Now, guess what? That particular person blocked me. They blocked me. It was, and it was okay. They stopped following me and they blocked me. I said nothing to them. They just, one day, they just weren't there. Nothing being said, nothing being done. They just, and I think somebody had told me it's because every time they would get a notification that I was going live, they just blocked me because I was too much. They didn't understand that they could go into their Instagram and turn off that function that notifies them that I'm going live. Do you see what I mean? So it was like, oh, Sandy, it's not you, it's them. But in that moment, that gave me a moment to go deal with past of how I dealt with other things that brought it forward to me going, oh, I'm more than enough and I don't have to shrink myself. Right?
Yes, I'm more than enough and I don't have to shrink myself. That is a quote within itself.
It's like
I
totally,
love that. I love that. I love that for so many reasons, Sandra. I love it because what I hear is that you were gifted that experience to realize the light that you bring. And that light often isn't going to be received by everyone because it's not for everyone. But the light is your light, and that's who you are, and that's what you would do. And a lot of times people are stuck in their darkness. So I've said this before, and it came to me. It's like our light, when you're such a light, you bring the awareness to the darkness others are sitting in,
Mhm.
and they don't want to see themselves. So they'll keep running to where it's dark and they're safe because they can't handle the shine of those who are living in their truth and living in their purpose. And I like to say, when you're in your light, at night, if you got roaches in your house, you turn the light switch on and they just start crawling out and running out because they're like, oh, we're exposed. Oh, they see us. Run, hide. But there's nowhere to hide because what happens is even ourselves, when I think of it, when I was in my darkness of the story and the belief of it, I didn't want to be exposed. So if anyone brought light to what I was hiding in, I would run, I would fight, I would react because I didn't want to be exposed because it was a lot that came with that. So yeah, it's just a lot that when you have such a radiant energy and a presence, you're going to be that for those who are not in the space to handle it. So I love that you didn't dim your light because those lives kept coming, and it served who it needed to serve. So you didn't let that seed that they were trying to plant be accepted. You rejected it, and you were able to do your own work to eject those other seeds that have been previously planted. So now you have fresh soil that you're able to plant what you want to grow in it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's fresh soil.
Mhm.
Even now I'm restructuring everything. I mean, and the thing in the restructuring is about having a moment in time where, for me, my story is right now. I didn't mention it to anybody for a while because I needed to hear my story for myself, how it's to play out. And through a breast exam, they found something, right? And through that, I had to I had to I had to be in the feeling of it, in the emotion of it. I had to be in the growth of it. I had to decide. It wasn't that I was saying why me, because I wasn't in being a victim. I already knew that. But the question was, why now? I had to allow my ego to have that question. And I didn't want to, as much as social media tries to help, we try to help each other. We all have our perceptions of what everybody should do to heal themselves. We have, people who are they're not into the man-made medicine. They're not into they want to talk about big pharma. They want to say you need to go holistic. And the why now, when I sat with that, is the divine told me, well, you want to help people merge modern medicine with holistic medicine. How better to do that than your own story? Who do you want to be now? Mm. Well, I had to be honest. I told the divine, I want to be scared right now. Mm. And the divine said, feel it. Because that's what anybody else would do if they heard this. Mm. If they're sitting before a doctor and the doctor is telling them they have this or they have that, they're going to feel it. It's going to be an emotion. Mm-hmm. I want to help people understand that you are a spirit having a physical body, having an experience as being a human, and your body is telling you, I need you. How wonderful is it to be? I think I had to sit with it and go, I've been very blessed to be born 1957 and watch modern medicine grow and expand to this point now, that they can offer me things and that I can sit with the doctor and say, I love your area of expertise, and know that the divine is going to give me the perfect care team from that side of it, who understands that I get to say to them, I want to bridge or merge what you do in your growth and your expansion of what you learn to help me. I want to merge that. I have a wonderful care team. Now I can talk about it because now I understood. We're human having these feelings. We were given feelings for a reason. We were given tears for a reason. We were given, systems in our body that heal themselves, but they can't get activated until we become aware of how to activate it. You know that it's a possibility to be an alchemist, but if you don't acknowledge the problem that's needed in order to be an alchemist, how can you alchemize anything? And then I went, and the divine said, this is why. Do you want to accept it? And I said, I have to sit, I got to sit and think about this. And the divine said, think. And my ego said, yeah, I don't know. And the divine said, little one, she's got to go through all the feelings. I had to go through being actually listening to all the information, because now in this stage, the hospitals, the doctors, everybody will over-inundate you with all the information. They hold nothing back. So your mind is on full throttle. But guess what? You were given that mind so that it opens up that area so you can ask the questions that you need to hear an answer from, and then you get to sit and say, well, what do I want to do with it now? Because you're ultimately the one that gets to make the choice. You can sit and say, well, I'm going to be fully against, modern medicine. I'm gonna push against that because I want them to conform to holistic medicine, but that's not their area of expertise. So I had to go through all of this. How am I going to do this? What's going to be said? And I had to step away from social media for a while, because most of the people that I'm listening to want to make it their design to be against something instead of for something. They're against the big pharma, but they're not for my divine health. Right? And I went, oh, because in the past when I was growing up, it was all about medicine. If you were thinking about holistics, you were, that's witchy stuff. That's woo-woo stuff. Right? So now, and now I'm trying to merge the two, and I'm getting flashbacks from family who are saying, no, that's not it. You need to buck up, little camper, and go do this and go do that. And it was like, I'm done. I'm in me. I'm doing me. I'm going to merge it, because there are people that are waking up to their spirituality, and they are not where you or I are. They have not dived into the deep end and are strong enough to have enough spiritual awareness to hold their what do you call it? Their faith to know that their body can heal them. So I don't want anybody to die on my watch. I don't want anybody coming to my page and hearing somebody tell them that you need to give up your medicine, sue these people, and go and try to find some herbs to heal you. And then they're not in their vibrational wholeness of knowing that their body can heal them. They're not there yet. So it's like, how do you combine it? How do you merge it?
Yeah,
If you're an alchemist,
a lot to
the medicine that I talk to my medicine now. I ask the doctors, okay, what is this medicine for? Oh, it's to lower your estrogen. And then the doctors, okay, well, what are the side effects? and the doctors will tell me what the side effects is. Well, I take that which resonates with my body for my highest and greatest good to bring down my estrogen level, and I take what resonates and I leave what doesn't for it, and I send it back to the divine, because all it is energy. That's alchemy. But if you don't have embodiment behind it, that alchemy isn't going to work. And guess what? That's why now.
I love that. That's why now.
Yeah.
That's why now.
That's a good place to land it. And I want to hear Sumi.
Yes.
Sumi, you're over there radiating. I love your hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's coming up for you?
Yeah, it's actually a lot of things that's coming up for me. The word memory comes to mind. And that's coming to mind because as we are, let's just say this is you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you've learned and every addition that has been joined to this one hand has been happening all your life. All my life, all your life, all our life. We've had additions, coming on. And before these additions, it was just you, right? Which means everything that's around us is based out of memory. You had to memorize how to stand up and how to sit down and how to eat and how to move, right? So what's coming to mind for me is when other people that are not in their most powerful states of mind, in their low vibrations, when they come and they try to add on, right? It is also a memory coming from some source that's trying to add on to you. So for me in this, when I hear people trying to bring on opinions to me, the first thing that goes out is, okay, that's a very strong opinion. Interesting. Could you please tell me more? Why do you think so? I honestly, guys, it just happened out of nowhere where that's how I started to talk to people, where I would then ask them questions. Why do you think I'm a witch? Why do you think I worship the devil? Could you tell me more? And then I put a little sultry laugh or whatever. I take a deep breath, first of all, so I don't pull my hair out. But when I go into the mode of, please tell me more, that's interesting. I see another side of them. And I promise you guys, what has started happening, and I've only started practicing this in like the last month or so. And what I see is when I look at what I thought they were thinking and what they actually said, it's usually way different. And then I start being thankful that I actually did probe for it, right? So for me, it's definitely been lots and lots of experiences that I'm able to draw, both situations. And another one that happened to me most recently in the last month, I actually had to call Angelique, goddess, on this one. Yeah, I was in a state of mind. So what happened was I went on a shrooms journey. I hadn't had one since my ayahuasca last year. So this was like my next big one, just a few weeks ago. So I went on it, got prepared and everything, decided it best that I needed to do it in my bedroom and not out in the park and all that stuff. Because I wanted a alone time. I wanted a soft cushion, to lay on. I don't want any bugs and stuff. But anyway, so what happened was I went in so deep to a state of mind where every teaching that I had for the last 10 years disappeared. I went into an interesting mental state. And then I was also on my period. Started to do it on my period, all that stuff. I went into such a deep state that I thought I actually went into a past life of mine where there was some cuckoo stuff going on, like heavy mental disorder. So I met her, and it was jail for about 4 hours. And I went into a state of conversing, trying to free myself, but it wasn't working. And then all of a sudden, I heard a voice just say, "Stop it and just surrender." I was like, nope, I'm not going to surrender. Who the fuck are you? So I get up in my whatever state, get outside. I'm like, nope, my kids are in bed. I don't want to hear me, blah, 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 blah. How do I do this? What is this voice? There's so many voices in my head. What the hell is happening to me? And I just fall down to the ground, bloody, all over the place, bawling. The next thing that I know, hours have passed and I'm up again. And I'm thinking to myself, Sumi, you've had 10 years of practical meditation. You've been teaching people. You've done this and you've done this and you've done that. What the hell happened last night? What the fuck? So it was me asking myself this question for 3 days. And I'm like, but Source, you told me that I needed to be in my period to have this amazing experience. Why the hell would you do this to me? But down the line, after 3-4 days, the answers started to come. And the answers that actually came was, I needed you to see that you can have timelines. I needed you to experience who you've been and who you are presently. I also needed you to experience some of your stories, previous lives. I needed you to be patient with yourself. I needed you to accept that was also a possibility, and this was a possibility, and this was also a possibility. I needed you to understand that you could be multiple timelines at the same time. And I needed you to accept the fact that when you say you want to scream and yell, you should not feel sorry for yourself. You should scream and yell. And I also needed you to accept that if you were an angel, you are an angel. So it was just a lot of that came to me after the fact of understanding myself better. And then it hit me that, that was exactly what I was looking for. And it probably didn't come to me, the answers did not come to me immediately, but it was such a profounding experience for me. It was great. And yeah, I have not shared this with anyone. This is first time I'm sharing this. I feel so free and so blessed, and just I'm in awe at my growth. I'm in awe of my progress, and you guys. Yeah, this is amazing stuff. I just thought to share that.
Thank you for sharing that. And I know how that experience being in that psychedelic world, it brings a lot up, and it connects a lot of dots. And even during the experience, like, you are having this like surreal experience in reality. I partake in the mushroom world, so I know how it is when I'm in that. But I love that you didn't get the answer in that while you were in the experience, because in reality, that's in this physical realm, this 3D realm, we don't, when we're truly in an experience, we're just meant to be present, open and available, and allow ourselves to expand through the experience. I think what happens is we attach to what we are experiencing based on a past experience, and we're not getting the magic and the expansion from it, because we're comparing what was to what is. So the fact that you got your downloads a day after, the next day after, the next, and you're still gonna get them because you open that portal. So they're gonna keep flooding in and coming in. That, I love that, because when you do something of that nature with intention and being receptive, you're able to receive the gift. Because I know for me, when it came to that, based on other people's perceptions that were told to me, I was afraid of it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to have this experience. Oh, I don't want to it to make me do this. So I let others people's limitations becomes my expectations of what that was supposed to be. And then once I released that, and I'm like, you know what, let me just explore it to see what it is. I seen like, wait, I'm one with this tree. The sky turns into whatever I want it to be. Like I literally was seeing the power and the magic of this universe and how there's so much that it has to offer us and it's so much that it's teaching us in every second, every minute, every hour of every day is always bringing something. But it's through that expansion of like really opening yourself up to even explore that, you're able to see the power is always you.
Yeah.
Nothing else, no one else, you.
Yes.
Absolutely. It was definitely eye opening for me. It was eye opening. I just remember hearing a really loud noise like, hey, stop everything you're doing and just get underneath the covers and just go to bed and just sleep. And I remember, crawling underneath the blanket, like, oh my God, bleeding everywhere. Because at this point, it was just, I also remember walking into the shower with clothes on, soaking wet, because I was just trying to get out of this state. I'm like, no, leave me alone, in my mind, my physical state. I'm like, no, girl, you got it. Like, come on. She would pop in every time. This person pops in. It was like 100 people, all sue me, different versions, different, so it took days for me to really understand. And sometimes we just don't get those answers right away. It also taught me patience. Not that I didn't have it before, but my patience got better. My understanding my self-worth, understanding everybody else around me, understanding that, of course, some people can have it bad, some have it better. At the end of the day, we are all still one unit, and we all just need to continue to take it one step at a time. Because for me, it took me, being in a very hard household as a child. I've not really said so much about my childhood, but I did not have I did not have a good childhood. My childhood was very insane. Mental abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, heavy. Um, Switches and canes and whips and wires and it was heavy. I remember passing out one time when my dad's whipping me with this cheap stick. I pass out, I wake up, and he's still hitting me. I'm like, what the F? I was about 17 at that time. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm screaming and I'm just passing out and coming back. But, right now for me, it's easier to be able to tell the story without without having feelings of hurt. And that's also because looking back, there has been lots of work put into this. Now I understand why I have to spend, thousands of dollars going to Sedona and taking courses. And, for a long time, I was thinking to myself, why did I even take that $10,000 Sedona trip? Why did I even do that? Those people, those spiritualists, they just take our money. They're stupid people. Da, 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 da. And then now I'm looking back and I'm like, holy shit. It has paid. It did pay. It is paying, and it is going to pay more. So, being in a peaceful state of mind that I am mostly today, it's definitely been the work of that switch the first time in 2014 when I was like, Where am I? What's going on? Who am I? It's a really gradual process, but we do eventually get there. And the funny thing is, when you get there, you'll then know that it's always been there. Like right now, we are there. It's not even so much a process. It's just so much of understanding the good and the bad in all nature, that both is actually needed and is needed as a force for everything that we are, or everything we want to be. So it's also, embracing the bitch that I could be when I'm yelling at my kids when they don't pick up the remote control or whatever, or the angel that I could be when I'm like, oh, are you sick? Here's some Tylenol, baby. Let mama give you some sugar or whatever. Like it's embracing the dual nature, because that is who we are. That's who we've always been.
And I would say it's not even dual, it's multiplicitous. And that's a word that I came across recently, the multiplicity. But when you're saying like there's not just two sides, there's varying degrees. There's like so much that can happen. There's literally infinite opportunities to be any type of way that you want to be. It's just about choosing. And I feel like in those situations, especially, navigating experiences with children, they pull things out of you because they are still so in touch with that raw creativity, that raw creative energy, where it's like it just pulls stuff out of you. Like, hold on a second. Hold on a second. And that could be either like something real goofy and you're like, where did that come from? Or it can be some anger that you didn't realize was there, some irritation. But we have that freedom, we have that capacity. And when we don't judge ourselves for it, and we just acknowledge, like, oh, this is a choice that I'm making. This is something that I chose unconsciously and I didn't realize I was choosing it. But now I'm aware of it. It allows us, like you were saying, to just really deepen that understanding of ourselves and to have a better relationship with who we are and all that we can be, and just more acknowledgement of the choices that we can make. But I really appreciate you sharing. That was really nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
I want to, cause I always like to break it down. I like to break these meals down in digestible pieces. But I also want to, because for those who are tuning in or will tune in, may hear this and be like, what the hell are they talking about? Because that may not be the awareness or consciousness that you have at this moment. But even knowing to get to this space, it is to have the awareness of where it all started. And even like how you brought into the conversation to me, like the background of the abuse and things that you had experienced that accumulated into, a lot of times we're unaware, it becomes our protector. So when we have those type of experiences in our childhood, and before we start even knowing that there's work that needs to be done, we have this outer protection that doesn't allow us to let people who resemble, that have just some type of familiar just energy to what we experience, or the opposite. We are stuck in those patterns of what we experience, the type of household and things that we grew up in, because that's where our safety lies. And even that becomes a protector, because if I stay in the hurt, if I stay in the pain, then I already know what this feels like. For me, I can speak. I grew up similar as you. So I was physically abused, verbally abused, I was sexually abused. Like there was a lot of abuse that I experienced. And as an adult, I realized that I pushed away love. I pushed away support. I pushed away when people really wanted to genuinely be there to just be of service to me, because I didn't know what that felt like. I knew the dysfunction. I knew the abuse. I knew the chaos. So that was my normal environments that I would gravitate to. And anything that was outside of that, I'm like, oh no, there has to be some type of catch. Who's gonna pull something under the rug? I didn't know how to receive it. Hey, Sister Nicole, I didn't know how to receive it. because it wasn't something that I had in my awareness to even know how to embrace it. And my way of protecting it was I dumb myself down, like how Sandra was speaking earlier, like I shrunk. So I would be in environments that I knew that I was no longer in alignment with, but it was all I knew. So I would dim my light, I would dumb myself down. Even in those toxic environments, I had two encounters where I was attacked because of how I looked. So my story that I created from there is if I shine too bright, there's gonna be more repercussions. But I didn't even realize when those happened in my early adult years, that was just happening from my younger years. Me being me caused the abuse. You're too soft. You need to toughen up. You need to man up. So I was trying to be something that I didn't even could never be, so I wouldn't get the abuse and get talked down to. And I realized that was who I started to become, this chameleon. Being in every environment, oh, you need me to be this? I can turn into that. You need me to play this? I can play that character and role. And when it came time for me to discover who I was, I didn't even know who that was. And even as I speak of it now, there's still emotions that come through me because I was a lost soul. Not even a lost soul. My soul has always been there, that knew that I was this powerful being, but I was this lost character because I was trying to be whatever character others wanted me to be. So when it came to me trying to discover me, I'm like, I don't even know. I didn't know what color I liked. I didn't know what I like to do for fun. I didn't like the type of people, I didn't know what type of people I was actually attracted to because I was just trying, oh, you think I should like them? Okay. You think I should want them? Or be that. And I just, that's all that I knew how to perform as. So even in this journey in these last 5, 6 years, there's been a lot of things shedding. And there's been a lot of ahas that have been coming like, Raymell, you actually do enjoy nature. You do enjoy going out. You do enjoy this type of music. But then there's still that part of me that feels as though I don't know because I'm still, in a sense, wanting to have some type of common grounds to connect with people. So if you like this, maybe I should like that. If you do this, maybe I should do that. And I've still been in the work because this work never stops. It's a forever thing until you transition back into the original form of the source that we are. But there's still that work of me shedding these layers of beliefs and stories and ideas of what I should be or how I should be. And I had someone when I posted a video, I just did an event with Lisa Nichols 2 weeks ago, and this is someone who is like an ex that I dated like years ago. But they said you built a brand by being your authentic self. I've never heard that before. I never knew that before because I didn't see that. I was just trying to be the best version of Raymell that I could be. And I still don't know what that is, if I'm being honest. I just know I want to love. I want to, ooh, I get emotional thinking about it, but I want to love. I want to empower. And I just want to do my best every day. And to me, that's the best version that I can be and just be that example what is possible when you come from the chaos, from the turmoil, from the abuse, that there's something on the opposite side that you never even knew that was possible for you. Woo! See, here I come with the emotions. I come. I got them.
You're bringing in a lot of stuff for me right now. So this is what's coming up for me. There was a time when, I was just getting out of depression from a divorce, right? Divorce of a 14-year marriage, by the way. So something happened where all of a sudden I felt the need to change my career. I felt the need and spirituality for me was kind of like, I just kind of stumbled upon it because I was self-reflecting on myself, right? And it was just something that I thought, ooh, I think I want to dig in deeper. And then that's when ayahuasca and I'd say more hardcore spirituality kind of just came down my path. And I was like, this is interesting. I kind of want to dive in more. And now we're having this conversation. But what I noticed and what I guess spirit made or helped me see was, Sumi, I'm going to give you a couple of ideas every couple of weeks. I just want you to play with them. I know you can get into the habit of you want to plan out 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. But how about just have fun? Now that I've taught you how to manage feelings and emotions in these ways and that ways, let's bargain, me and you. Let's sit down, and when I give you an idea from the universe, just take it. And I was like, okay, God, or whoever you are, spirit, no problem. So what I started doing was, one day I got up and I was like, I have this amount of money. Maybe I should start my own real estate. I thought about it. I started to write down plans. How can you be a real estate person? What is it? How much you need to have? Are there softwares that I need to purchase? This went on for like 2 weeks, this plan. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to go into it. But the idea came and I ran along with it. Just when I thought, I don't think this is my path. I'm just like, thank you, Source. I appreciate you, but let's kind of just put it on the back burner for now. Just at that moment, a day or two passed, and another idea came. And this one was something in sales or something. It's not coming to me right now. This one also lasted about a month in my head, and I played with the idea around with it. What I started to notice here is, as I do this, it's the same thing that we also bring into our emotions, where we say, you know what, I don't think I like this person anymore, or you know what, I want to love this person just a bit more because they've earned my trust in this area and this area. It's the same thing we can also put into anything that we do around us. Anyway, my point here is we are able to have different timelines at every point in time. So the more that we're able to embrace ourselves with the changes that come from within ourselves, from source, the more we're able to embrace all of that, the more we get things that we want to ourselves. Our manifestations come in fast because we're playing with the idea as it's coming in. We're not showing that we are afraid because it is actually fear that holds us, that does not help us reach better places or higher places. Does my message make sense? I feel like I'm like...
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when we allow ourselves to be open to whatever changes want to, peek their head in, it allows us to choose what actually makes
what we
us
actually
happy.
want.
Yeah.
Eventually, we get there.
Yeah.
So, let's
it's just
play
about
with all the
opening the
ideas.
door and like strengthening that
it
muscle.
opens the door for the big one. For whatever it is that you're still thinking about, or the thing that you're like, you know what, I don't even like it or whatever, but I'm just gonna play with the idea of it. I'm not a realtor. I never took any realtor or real estate classes in school, but I'm just gonna play with the idea. Let's assume I have $1 million. I don't know, whatever. I don't, but let's just assume. Let's just play with the idea on a spreadsheet. Let's get a book and just write and not think about the limitations. I'm just going to go with the plan anyways. Will I? Why not? It's not a big deal because it's the feeling of it. It's the accumulation of the joy that I'm getting along. I don't have to reach there because guess what? If I get there anyways, I might not like it. So maybe it's the process that I should participate in and excite myself on and play with and poke at, delete, add on.
Yeah, the choosing to participate, like you're saying, because we do sometimes build that tendency of just I'm gonna stay doing this. I'm not gonna try anything else. This is the lane I'm on. This is the life that I'm in. I just want it to be safe and comfortable. Don't show me anything else. No, 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 no. But meanwhile, the path that we're on and we're so focused on is not satisfying to us. It's not fulfilling to us. We're there because of fear. We're there because we don't trust the unknown. We're there because we don't trust ourselves. But when we do that practice, which it is a practice of opening ourselves up to these ideas and actually taking steps towards them, even just thinking about it, like you said, making a spreadsheet, maybe making a couple phone calls, maybe going to a class, who knows?
Yeah,
Just being
call up a
open.
friend and just yap about it.
Yeah, and
No
just
big
being
deal.
open to it, it really allows you to expand outside of that fear and say, like, I did try all of these different things and I'm still here, I'm still okay. Well, this thing that I really feel like drawn to and pulled by, I want to try this now. And then, you're off to the races.
But also, what comes through is a lot of times is it ours?
Mm.
Because sometimes we could be in the pursuit of what others want us to do, who they want us to be, how they want us to live, that we have to really sit with, is this what I feel aligned with and connected to? And that curiosity of exploring, let me try this, let me dabble in this, gives us the ability to taste to see if we even like it. Because I know for me, and what comes to mind is growing up, I knew I never liked fish. I never liked seafood, but I was forced to eat it.
I love me some seafood.
I was forced to eat it because I grew up in a household with a grandmother. You don't leave the table until your plate is clean, and they check the trash. Because I would throw it away. Because I'm like, I don't like this. I can't eat this. It's not to my liking. But I was forced to eat it. I was forced to consume it. So and I knew deep down it wasn't something that I enjoyed, but I had to do it. And when you think about it in life, a lot of times we're doing things because we feel like we have to do because of whatever reason we come up with versus knowing that I get to do and what do I want to do and really letting that be what we let lead us versus doing it. So I love that you had the idea, kind of dabble, let me explore it, write some stuff down. I'm gonna revisit this, but right now this isn't pulling me. And then you had another idea. Okay, I'm gonna explore this. It isn't pulling me. So now you're getting more aligned with what is it that I enjoy? What brings me excitement? Because that's what I know I'm meant to execute versus if I'm doing it just so people can think that I'm this realtor and now they can see me as this image, I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for them. And that's where a lot of people get lost in that loop of you're living for others and not for yourself. And you never know you can never really know what that is until you start to connect with that feeling of joy is for you, that feeling of peace, happiness, creation is for you. Because a lot of times when it's not alignment, you're forcing it. And when you're forcing it, it's not going to be your best. You're just doing something to do it. I know because that's what I used to do. I used to just do stuff like, okay, they want, and I felt like I created this story of I have to live up to the expectations of the world. And if I don't live up to the expectations, then I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, and I'm not this successful being that they are telling me I should be or who I should be. And I felt like every time I did that, y'all, like I wasn't fulfilled. Even when I was in the modeling world, people seen the glitz and the glams, the shoots, the sets, and all of that. But that wasn't my happiness. And when I first got into it, of course, it was a new world. And growing up and you're seeing top model and all these things, you're like, okay, I'm about to be the next Tyson Beckford. And kind of like what you shared to me, like that lasted for a little bit, but I made it last for a longer time than what it should have because now people see me as this model. So now I have to live up to what models do, who models are, because this is how you see me. And if I don't want to disappoint you, I have to be who you want me to be because this is what you're expecting of this character that I've created. And once I got out of it, and even now, like that is a gift that I was given, but it isn't all that I have.
Yeah.
And I now know that because when you're in that world and in that bubble, you just start to, you're put on this pedestal of people just like, you're so handsome, you're so beautiful, you're this, and you're getting praise, but they want you to be perfect. So the moment you are not in that box of what they call perfection, now you're getting the judgment. Now you're getting the shame, the guilt, and all the things. And if you ain't loving yourself and confident within yourself, you start to question and doubt yourself and start to question, like, well, am I what they say? Am I not this? Am I not that? And there's so much inner dialogue that happens that you start to just question your whole existence. That's what I did when I emerged out of the modeling world and I got into the fitness world. I'm like, okay, so now people are not going to know me for this, but this is still in the same area code because I'm still a pretty vessel with the perfect body. I'm still in this, like, helping others get that. So it was easier to transition into that. But y'all, if I'm being truthful and just authentic, when I got into the life coaching realm and the public speaking realm, that's where all the self doubts and questions came up for me because I no longer had the looks to hide behind. I no longer had this vessel to be what I used as a protector, and I had to start to connect to my heart. And I was so closed off and so blocked off. I like to say it was like a big iceberg that was surrounding my heart, and I had to let it melt through the inner work. And that's where I had to be okay with showing up, being all of me, even if I didn't know what that was. Speaking my truth, even if I knew that people may judge me or shame me or guilt me, it was my truth in that moment. And that's where I started to gain my inner strength because I didn't have to live up to this image of perfection. I didn't have to live up to this image of being that one who people just glamorize. And I started to get in the ground and walk with those who were still on their journey of expansion and growth. So I just want to bring that into it because a lot of times we get lost in what we, even if we tell someone an idea that we're just pondering, if they give a little gasoline of excitement and fuels up that, oh, you should do it. Well, should I? I don't really want to, but now they hyped and now they got me, they thinking I should, and now we're doing it for them. So I just want to bring that into it because a lot of times people don't live and do things for what they feel aligned with or called to, but now they're trying to fulfill it because someone else is expecting them to.
Mm-hmm. And Nicole said, remember, you are always the author of your story. You get to write, rewrite, edit as much as you like to.
Mm-hmm.
Amen and ashe. And just kind of to wrap things up here, something that came up for me while you were talking, Raymell, was how I am recognizing how deeply the idea of you have to like pick something and stick with it has been ingrained in me.
Mm-hmm.
And how much guilt I have felt for trying things or saying stuff and people getting excited about it and being like, oh, you're doing this now? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be looking out for that. I'm ready to support you. But then I'm like, oh, actually, I want to do something different. And then I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Can I change this? Can I shift to something that's kind of like similar so they still feel like this is in the same vein, like coming out and being like the artist, like that was a major thing for me. I know a lot of people were just kind of like, oh yeah, you're just creative and we're embracing you and we're accepting this. But that was like a big thing for me because I was dead set on doing something in the science field. Like that was what I was planning to do, something research, something animal science, something explorer, observer, something. And like I had all the like microscopes and telescopes and catching bugs and making slides and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
But what my heart and my soul wanted to do was be creative. Wanted to paint, wanted to sew, wanted to make dough and just clay and like do things with my hands and create the things that I was seeing in my mind. But that wasn't something I was encouraged to do. So when I, was like, I'm Angelique the artist, and people were like, oh, okay, yeah, we love that. We see you being creative. Um, it was really a challenge for me. It was really a big shift for me. And that happened kind of like in between my journeys. So in 2017, I decided I'm going to start being more intentional about my creativity, but I was still hiding it under like, I'm doing massage therapy, that's still kind of like kinesiology and like science stuff, I'm still kind of laying it under that. And then 2018 came and I went to Speak and Write for the first time. And I was like, okay, exploring more of myself, speaking my authentic truth, sharing what wants to be, coming out of my belly. You feel me? And so I started to slowly expand and open up into the idea. And then when I went to when I went to Speak and Write in 2019 and I went in person, I was like, nah, we're jumping into this, fam. We're just gonna tell everybody I'm an artist and I'm doing art. And I just completely just threw myself in the pool, like Raymell likes to say. I just threw myself in it. And people were like, yeah, you want to do like art therapy and art workshops? Cool. You want to sell paintings and stuff? That's awesome. And that year, before I went to Speak and Write, I also I had jumped out of society by that time, and I was living in my car. R.I.P. sis. She got jumped, but in any case, and I even in that state of where I was, I decided to invest in art classes because I wanted to learn how to improve my skills and my techniques and my practice because I'm still very science minded. I'm like, I know there's a way that I can do this where it's like tactical and it makes sense. And so I was like, I'm going to go take art classes. And it blew my mind wide open. And I was so grateful that I took that time to invest in what I wanted to enrich in myself and the path that I wanted to be on. And then again, when I went to Speak and Write, I was like, I took my art classes. I'm an artist now. And as I've kind of grown and expanded and continued going to Speak and Write, continued taking classes, continuing to learn about my spirituality, I started to get this download from spirit like, you've been on a spiritual journey. You've been doing your personal practice. This is something you can support people with. Like your life, with the reason you wrote it down in 2018 and you took this challenge on yourself to write 100 pages in 100 days and only got to 50 because your story is deep. This is why. Because spirituality is a part of your being. You are spirit. And so that was like another shift where I was like, not everybody knows me as the artist. Like, can you like doing spiritual stuff? Like, who is she? And I'm still learning to embrace that. I still love doing art because that is an expression of spirit through me. But at the same time, there are other practices that I have grown from and transformed through that can support other people who might not find themselves so creative, right? And so I'm just really, like you said to me, I'm so glad you brought this into the conversation because that's something I'm still learning how to do to expand myself and to let things go. And like I started this little bit with, I was so conditioned to just stay in one thing, pick one thing, do one thing. But again, we are multiplicitous, so I get to be multiplicitous.
We definitely are. I'm just gonna share first because I know we're low on time. I started out at 16 and a half, 17 as in a nursing field. So I did nursing for a couple of years. And then I met my husband at the time, and he goes, what? Scrubs, night shifts, 12-hour shifts? No. I was 2021. And I'm like, okay, no, I don't like it anyway. So let's just go back to school. And then I get an accounting degree. So now I've got nursing and an accounting bachelor's degree. And I'm almost done with accounting, 4 years, another 4 years. And then I decide, you know what? What's this stupid accounting stuff anyway? It's just numbers. Like, what is it? So I finished it anyways. 3 years later, I did a master's. This time I do it in IT. Okay. So I transitioned my career in the last 20 years, probably had like 5, 6 careers. I've stopped counting. So why did I bring this up is we are, first of all, as human beings, we're supposed to not only be in one place, in one thing. Some of us believe in the Bible, some of us don't believe in the Bible. Let's assume the Bible is real, right? There are stories of people migrating from place to place to place after years, after centuries, after, migrants, right? Now, it's the same way that works is how everything should be, including career, before we experience everything. It's important we also need to learn to try new foods. The more we're able to diversify our portfolios in like a branch of a tree, the more we're able to be softer, gentler, nicer, everything. So that's where it comes from. Is we probably should not be in a marriage for too long, because then we don't get to experience other people. Or if we are in a marriage, we probably should have a way of still having communication with the world and not just shutting ourselves in. And I'm not talking about sex, I'm talking about experience in general. So it's things like that. I mean, let's take a look at the animals. They're just freaking roaming free. Like, who the fuck are we?
A bird like, catch me if you can. I'm about to elevate beyond your reach. And it's like, I'm about to go and slither in this little crack that you can't get me and find me. What you gonna do?
Somebody post something in there.
Sister Nicole says, this is confirmation that it's okay to explore multiple things. I've been a loan officer, personal trainer, and Delta Airline agent, speaker, and life coach, DJ, and author. I've done everything and I'm doing everything my heart desires. Yes, and yes. And that's definitely confirmation, because there is, I think if we get lost in this idea that there's just one thing that we have to do, that's coming from lack and limitation. We live in a multi-dimensional, abundant, limitless, infinite universe. So there's whatever you feel called to do, but make sure that it's something that you want to do. It's the message that I want to land and leave with everyone. What brings you joy? Like Sumi was sharing earlier, because it's really the feeling. It's not the physical thing that we think we are searching or seeking or trying to manifest. It's the vibration, the sensation of having it is really what we are wanting to embody so we can get into the attraction. So be more aware of how you feel when you are in action towards whatever you're pursuing or doing. Because if you feel empowered, if you feel inspired, if you feel connected, then that's how you know it's in alignment with you. But if you feel unfulfilled, that may not be the path that you're meant to take. Just saying.
Yes. And just to kind of circle it back, also that awareness of when somebody says something to you and it triggers you into an awareness, that's also a moment to say, I get to change, I get to choose, I get to be something different. I can continue to be triggered by this, I can continue to just stay on the same lane that I know, or I can choose to transform and be something different. But yeah, I know we kind of went all over the place, but I feel
You
like
know
it's
that's
so
what we do in
relevant.
healing conversations. We start from the
Yes.
left. It's gonna take us to the right. We're gonna go to the front, bring it back.
But it's all about
But it's
the
all
healing.
in alignment, which is really doing what you feel called to, and know that you always have the option to accept or reject whatever comes your way. And whenever you are in the present and you feel activated by a limitation, explore it. Because through that exploration, that exploring it, you're able to get to the root. And it's not something I always say, don't think you got to dig in the trash and figure out what you ate and why you ate it. But when something new comes your way, you're able to see, wait, this feeling has been there. It's not you. You activated what has already been within me. Now it's my job to get it out of me. And once you really take that accountability, you reclaim your power and you start to create a life with intention, purpose, and you're living a life that is a fulfillment. I thank you all. I love you all, y'all. Like, I knew today was gonna do what it did. We had Sumi in the building. We had Sandra in the building.
Yeah.
I love to see your
Nicole,
faces and just
Sharon.
to hear your perceptions because it expands me and it awakens something within me. So, Sumi, I thank you. Appreciate you, Sandra. I thank you. Appreciate you, Sister Nicole. I see you in the comments. Who else is in the comments? Shout you out. Shout you out. I know Sharon and all of y'all was in these comments.
Sarah, Melissa,
All of y'all.
all of these beautiful people.
We love y'all, and we will see you next week for Healing Conversation. Will the hearts work? Sumi, does your heart work? Does yours work? No. Hers works. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.
All right.
Oh my goodness.